Hello, beautiful learners. Hopefully, you're doing great, and I am also good by the grace of Almighty. So, it's our day 54 of IELTS listening practice test, and in this lesson, we are going to practice the IELTS listening with answers and proper explanation for achieving band 9. So, before going to start our class, I just need to check whether you can hear me as well as the audio track. So, that's why I need few sec from you to check it, then I'll start it. Okay, just give me a few sec.
You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions based on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your...
Okay, I'm quite confident that you are listening me as well as the audio track. So now let's move on. Okay, let's begin the class. Okay, so here let's listen the first instruction from the man as he was giving that. Okay, let's listen it from the beginning. Okay,
You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions based on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. Now turn to section 1.
so I hope you got the instruction from him as he was addressing that. Now here we can see we have a simple one to look at first. Okay, and the answer of that is 2374. Okay, and the keyword for this sample one is lot number. Okay, just let me highlight it and the answer. Okay, so let's take a look at the sample one first. Okay, let's listen it for.
Section 1 and their client. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 7. On this occasion only, the conversation relating...
Yes, I see you successfully bid for lot 2374.
Good afternoon. Yes, that's correct.
The lot number of the auctioned
That's correct.
2374. Afternoon, madam.
conversation relating to this will be played first.
Good afternoon, madam. Yes, I see you successfully bid for lot 2374.
Good afternoon. Yes, that's correct.
The lot number of the auctioned article is 2374. So you write 2374 in the space provided. You should...
Okay, I hope you got the simple one. Now let's begin with question number 1. Here we have keyword for question number 1 is reserve price. Okay, now let me highlight it and let's listen it for the price, reserve price, and you can also see that it's a pound sign. Okay, so we are going to listen it for an amount. Okay, let's listen it.
answer the questions as you carefully and answer questions 1 to...
Bid for lot 2.
Okay, and here we have another instruction to look at. So let's read it. No more than 3 word and or number for each answer. So we are allowed to write just only 3 words, but not more than. And in addition, allowed to we're also allowed to write a number. Okay, so let's listen it.
2374.
Good afternoon. Yes, that's correct.
I hope you are satisfied with your purchase. If I may say so myself, I think you got a real bargain. What you paid is not much above the original reserve price of £300.
I love PJ.
So the man was saying what you paid is not much above the original reserve price of £300. So 300 would be the answer. Okay, let me put it. So let's listen it one more time for the people who have confusion with it. Okay, let's listen it one more time.
The original you got a real... You are satisfied with your purchase? If I may say so myself, I think you got a real bargain. What you paid is not much above the original reserve price of £300.
I love PJ.
Okay, I hope you got it. Okay, as you were saying, what you paid is not much above the original reserve price of £300. Okay, now let's listen it for question number 2. Okay, name of artist. Okay, let me highlight it. Now we're going to listen it for a name. Okay, so let's listen it.
PJ Browning's work, and to be honest, I was prepared to pay a lot more. I'd decided beforehand that 500 to pay of PJ.
The original reserve price of £300.
I love PJ Browning's work, and to be honest, I was prepared to pay a lot more.
Okay, so she was saying I love P.J. Browning's work, and to be honest, I was prepared to pay a lot more. So the name is P.J. B.R.O.W.I. Sorry, N.I.N.G. P.J. Browning. Let's listen it one more time, okay?
Price of £300.
I love PJ Browning's work, and to be honest, I was
So she was saying, I love PJ Browning works. Okay, so that means the name of artist is PJ Browning. I hope you got it. Okay, now we're going to listen it for question number 3, and keyword for this question is amount paid. Okay, in pound. Okay, let's listen it for question number 3.
prepared to pay a lot more. I'd decided beforehand that £500 would be my limit, so getting it £150 cheaper than I was prepared to pay for it was a wonderful surprise.
I have to say that 17th...
Okay, so the question is about the amount of paid. Okay, so she was saying I was prepared to pay a lot. I was prepared to pay a lot more. I decided beforehand that 500 would be my limit. So getting it 150 pound cheaper than I was prepared to pay for it was wonderful surprise. So she was expecting that she would need to pay 500, but she was saying I got 150 on off. So that means the answer we should write is 35. Okay, so if you minus 150 from 500, then you will get obviously 350 pounds. Okay, so let's listen it one more time for the people who are still facing a problem to get it. Okay, so I'm going to play the audio one more time. Okay, let's listen it.
For it, so getting it £150 that £500 would be my limit. More. I'd decided beforehand that £500 would be my limit. So getting it £150 cheaper than I was prepared to pay for it was a wonderful surprise.
Okay, I hope you got it. She was saying I decided beforehand that 500 would be my limit. So getting it £150 cheaper than I was prepared to pay for it. It was a wonderful surprise. Okay, so that means if you minus 150 from 500, then the answer obviously you will find £350. Okay, so £350 would be the answer. I hope you got it. Now, okay, let's move on to question number 4. Description. Okay, let me highlight it. Blah blah painting of let's listen it for question number 4.
I have to say that 17th century paintings of rural English scenes like this one are rather underrated. The art...
Okay, so he was saying I have to say that 17th century paintings of rural English skins like this one are rather underrated. Okay, so we got 2 answers in a row. Okay, let me put them. So the answer for question number 4 is 17th century and the answer for question number 5 is rural English. Okay, let me put it. Sorry, rural English, English. Okay, let's listen it one more time for the people who are still didn't understand. Okay, so let me play the audio once again. Okay, let's play the audio.
It was £150 cheaper than I was prepared to pay for it was a wonderful surprise.
I have to say that 17th century paintings of rural English scenes like this one are rather underrated.
Okay, so he was saying I have to say that 17th century painting of rural English skins like. So he was saying 17th century painting of rural English, okay, skins like this one are rather underrated. Okay, so that means 17th century will be the answer for question number 4, and rural English will be the answer for question number 5. Now let's listen it for question number 6. Okay, with of painting without frame. Let me highlight it and let's listen it.
The art world seems to want abstract paintings by modern artists more. Geometric designs seem to be the trend today.
Not my taste at all. I have a more conservative taste when it comes to art. The painting will blend in with my antique furniture at home.
Well, I hope you have a big wall to put it on.
Luckily, I'm very fortunate to live in a rather large country house. What are the exact measurements of the painting, by the way?
The width is 1.5 meters, and the height is 1 meter. Without the frame, that is. If you include the gilt-covered frame, which is quite large.
Okay, so he was saying, the lady was asking, what are the exact measurement of the painting by the way, and the man was replying that the width is 1.5 meters and the height is 1 meter without the frame. So we are just listening for the height, but not the height at the time. So he was saying the width is 1.5 meters and the height is 1 meters without the frame. So without the frame, the width is 1.5. Oops, sorry. 1.5 meters. Okay, 1.5 meters. Meters meters. Okay, now we are going to listen it for question number. Okay, we also listen that the height is without frame 1 meter, so it's already visible here. Okay, now we are going to listen it for question number. Okay, for the question number 7, height with frame. Okay, let's listen it for height with frame. Okay, let's listen
To
it.
balance the size of the painting, you can add on another 0.5 meters for the width and the same again for the height, obviously.
That shouldn't prove too much.
Okay, so again the answer would be 1.5, okay, meters, meters. As let me explain it to you. As he was saying, well, the height is 1 meter without the frame. That is, if you include the gilt cover frame, which is quite large to balance the size of the painting, you can add on another 0.5 meter. Okay, so if you add 0.5 meter to 1 meters, that would be 1.5 meters. Okay, just give me 1 sec to to play the audio once again for the people, those who are still facing the problem to understand. Okay, let me play the audio once again. Okay, let's listen it.
And of the painting, you can add on another 0.5 meters for the width and the same again for the height, obviously.
That shouldn't.
Okay, I hope you got it. Okay, so that means as the height was we listened at the first, the height was 1.5 meter, sorry, 1 meter without the frame, and the last he was saying if you add 0.5 meters with the height, that means it would be 1.5 meters. Okay, so that means the answer would be 1.5 meters. I hope you got it. Okay, now we are going to listen it for question number 8 to 10. Before that, we have another instruction to follow. Let's read it. Okay, no more than 3 words and a number for each answer. Okay, so we are allowed to write only 3 words and a number if we need. Okay, now here we can see customer detail. Now we are going to listen it for maybe a name, as here it says name, and the keyword is here Mrs. or Miss. Now we are going to listen it for a name. Okay, let's listen it.
Prove too much of a problem.
Now listen and answer questions 8 to 10.
So, madam, I would just like to take down some details from you.
Okay, go ahead.
I recognize your face as you've attended several of our auctions before, but I can't put a name to your face. Could you remind me of your name, please?
Oh, yes, it's Mrs. Bradwell Thompson. It's a double-barreled surname, so you need a hyphen in between the 2 surnames, you see.
So that's spelt Bradwell, followed by a hyphen, then Thomson.
Well, the first part's right, but you spell Thompson with a P in between the M and the S of the surname.
Okay.
Okay, so it would be MP. Okay. Thompson. Okay, THO. Thompson. Okay, now let's listen it one more time. Okay, let me play the audio once again.
The P, the hyphen in between the 2 surnames. It's a double-barreled surname, so you need...
As your face as you've attended several of our auctions before, but I can't put a name to your face. Could you remind me of your name, please?
Oh, yes, it's Mrs. Bradwell Thompson. It's a double-barreled surname, so you need a hyphen in between the two surnames, you see.
So that's spelt Bradwell, followed by a hyphen, then Thomson.
Well, the first part's right, but you spell Thompson with a P in between the M and the S of the surname.
Okay.
So I hope you got it. And the man was spelling the name, but the lady was replying that, well, that the first word is right, but you spell Thompson with a P in between the M and S of the surname. Okay, so that means here we need to add another P, as I already wrote that. Okay, the issue is talking about this P. Okay, this P. So I hope you got it. Now we're going to listen it for question number 9. Okay, it's all about address. Okay, let me highlight it. And post code. Now we're going to listen it for post code. Okay, let's listen it and let me play the audio. Okay,
And your address, please.
Yes, it's Charlton Manor. That's spelt Charlton. And I live in Kingston Village. Oh, and of course, you'll...
okay, I'm sorry, we are going to listen it for post code, but I was writing the address. Okay, so you just need to write the post code, not the whole address. Okay, let's listen it once again.
Charlton. And I live in Kingston Village. Oh, and of course, you'll need the postcode too. It's KN26560T.
Sorry, did you say KM2656T?
No, it's KN, not an M. Then 2656T.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Bradwell.
Okay, I hope you got it. As she was saying, it's KN26 then 5. Okay, here you can just add a space as the stop here. Okay, so 560 would be the answer. Okay, now let's listen it one more time for the people those are facing problem to understand it. Okay, let's listen it one more time.
KN. Oh, and of course, you'll need the postcode too. It's KN26560T.
Sorry, did you say KM2656T?
No, it's KN, not an M. Then 2656T.
Well,
Okay, I hope you got it now. Okay, now we're going to listen it for question number 10. Okay, requested delivery date. Okay, now we're going to listen it for a date. Okay, blah blah day Tuesday. Okay, let me highlight it and let's listen the audio. Okay,
well, thank you, Mrs. Bradwell Thompson. I think that's just about everything. Oh, and I need to know when you would like the painting delivered. We deliver on Tuesdays and Fridays, the week following an auction.
Well, I'm having a long weekend break in the Cotswolds, a charming area of England, you know, so this coming Friday would be impossible. How about next Tuesday?
No problem at all, madam. So that'll be the 23rd of March.
Superb.
so the man was saying, so that would be 23rd of March. So 23rd of March would be the answer. 23rd MARCH, March would be the answer. Okay, so we are all about done with part 1. Now we are going to listen it for question number 11 to 15. I mean, we are going to jump into part 2. Okay, so here we can see label map below. Okay, write the correct letter A to G next to question number 11 to 15 Okay, Trayton Museum of Art. Here we can see Warburton Gallery, and here option A, B, C, D, F, G. Okay, and also here it's rotunda and entrance we can see. Okay, so here's the entrance. I hope you can see this. Okay, now let me zoom out it a bit. Okay, and that would be helpful for us to look at the whole map. Okay, just okay, I hope you can see it now. Now we're going to listen it for question number 11 first. Okay, clock room. Okay, clock room, let me highlight it. Now we're going to listen it for clock room. Where is clock room? Okay, let's listen it for question number 11. Okay, and for the clock room.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 15.
A very good afternoon to you all, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad you've chosen to visit the prestigious Triton Museum of Art today, and I'll look forward to showing you around. But first, I would just like you to refer to the maps of the museum that you picked up on your way in. Now, where you picked up your maps is just to the left, as you enter the building outside the museum store. By the way, the store is a great place to pick up some souvenirs before you leave. Oh, and if anyone wants to leave a coat in the cloakroom, then please feel free to do so at no extra charge. It's just over there on the other side of the entrance to the museum store. Oh.
Okay, so here's saying, let me explain to you. Here's saying, if anyone wants to leave a coat in the cloakroom, and please feel free to do so at no extra charge. It's just over there on the other side of the entrance to the museum store. So you're saying it's on the other side of the entrance, to the museum store. So on the other side of the entrance to the museum store. Okay. So on the other side of the entrance to the museum store. So where is museum? Okay. Okay, we can see the museum store here. So we can skip this question. If we find the museum, then we will choose the answer for question number 11. So now we're going to listen it for question number 12. Okay, permanent cotton gallery. Okay, now we're going to listen it for permanent cotton gallery. Okay, let me highlight it and let's listen it.
Okay, so this nice spacious area we're now standing in is the Rotunda. It contains some of the museum's most striking sculptures. From here, you gain access to all the museum.
Okay, I hope I got it. So E would be the answer for cloak room. Let me choose it as he was saying. Let me tell you the whole thing. As he was saying, if anyone wants to leave a code in the cloakroom, then please feel free to do so at no extra charge. It's just over there on the other side of the entrance on the museum store. Okay, so this nice spacious area, we are standing in the rotunda. Okay, so it contains some of the museum's most striking sculptures. Okay, so that means it would be option E. Okay, as he was talking about. Now we are going to listen it for question about permanent collection gallery. Okay, let's listen it for.
From here, you gain access to all the museum. Leading off from the rotunda are the Warburton Gallery and our other large gallery that houses a permanent art collection. We'll be starting our tour actually in the permanent collection gallery, as it's the nearest of the two galleries to the entrance.
Okay, so he was saying we'll be starting our tour actually in the permanent collection gallery, as it's the nearest of two galleries to the entrance. Okay, so it's and he was saying it's the nearest of the two galleries to the entrance. So to the two gallery, the entrance is this one. Option F would be the answer. Okay, let me choose option F here. I hope you got it, and let me play the audio once again for those who are still don't understand that. Okay, let's listen it once again.
Art collection, Warburton Gallery and our other large gallery. Leading off from the rotunda are the Warburton Gallery and our other large gallery that houses a permanent art collection. We'll be starting our tour actually in the permanent collection gallery, as it's the nearest of the two galleries to the entrance. We'll make our way...
Okay, we got it. Okay, now we are going to listen it for question number 13. Storage room. Okay, now we're going to listen for storage room. Let's listen it.
Afterwards to the other gallery I mentioned, as it's right next door. Oh, the smaller room behind the Warburton Gallery that you see on your maps is just a storage space for the museum, and access is blocked off to the public by a railing across the entrance to that area.
Okay, so he was talking about option G. Okay, let me explain it to you. As he was saying, the small room behind the Warburton Gallery, the small room. Okay, he was talking about this one, the small room behind the Warburton Gallery. So Warburton Gallery is here, and behind this the option this one. Okay, as he was talking about, he was saying Warburton Gallery that you see on your map is just a storage space for museum, and access is blocked. So here we can see access is blocked, okay, by this line. Okay, I don't know what is this, okay, but it's blocked. We can see it's visible. I hope you can see it. Okay, so as it here is saying, it's blocked off to the public by a railing. So it's a railing, okay, railing across the entrance to that area. So that means option G would be the answer. Let me choose it, and let's listen it once again for the people, those who are facing problem to get it. Okay, let's listen it one more time.
As it's right next. We'll make our way afterwards to the other gallery I mentioned, as it's right next door. Oh, the smaller room behind the Warburton Gallery that you see on your maps is just a storage space for the museum, and access is blocked off to the public by a railing across the entrance to that area.
Okay, I hope you got it. Okay, it's now it's super clear to you, I hope. Okay, now we're going to listen it for question number 14, cold room. Okay, let's listen for cold room. Okay,
So, where were we? Ah, yes. After we visited those galleries, which will take us a good hour as there are so many interesting exhibits to see, we'll make our way back across the rotunda and visit the Cowl Room. It's right at the far end of the museum, on the opposite side of the rotunda to the Warburton and Permanent Collection Galleries.
So he was talking about Cowl Room, and he was saying it's right at the far end of the museum, on the opposite side of the rotunda. Opposite side of the rotunda. So rotunda is here. So he was saying it's right at the far end, or at the far end of the museum, on the opposite side of rotunda to the Warburton and Permanent Collection Gallery. To the Warburton and Permanent to the Warburton and Permanent Collection Gallery. Okay, so that means he's talking about option B. Okay, let me choose option B for question 14, and let's listen it once again. Okay,
Opposite the exhibits galleries, where were we? Ah, yes. After we visited those galleries, which will take us a good hour as there are so many interesting exhibits to see, we'll make our way back across the rotunda and visit the Cowl Room. It's right at the far end of the museum, on the opposite side of the rotunda to the Warburton and Permanent Collection Galleries. It's one of the museum highlights and contains...
okay, I hope you got it. Okay, now we are going to listen it for question number 15. Okay, the staff room and kitchen. Okay, now we're going to listen for staff room and kitchen. Okay, let's listen it.
some high-quality contemporary art exhibits. Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot to...
Oh, sorry, it would be option B for... Sorry, it would be option A, okay? Now, we are going to listen it for question number 15, okay? Let's listen it. For question number 15, okay?
To point out the ladies' and gents' toilets earlier. They're just before you get to the Cowl Room and are adjacent to the museum's store. Don't go into the room opposite the toilets. That's our staff room area and kitchen. Right.
Okay, so let me explain to you as he was saying. I'm sorry I forgot to point out the ladies and gentle toilets earlier. They are just before you get the Cowl Room and the are adjacent to museum store. Okay, so that means D would be the toilet maybe. Okay, now and then he was saying don't go into the room opposite the toilet. That's our stop area and kitchen. So opposite of the toilet is option B. Okay, so this one is toilet and opposite of this one is kitchen and staff room. Okay, so B would be the answer for 15. Let me choose it and let's listen it once again. Okay,
I forgot to point out the ladies' and gents' toilets earlier. They're just before you get to the Cowl Room and are adjacent to the museum's store. Don't go into the room opposite the toilets. That's our staff room area and kitchen. Right, so that's all you need to know for the moment. Let's begin the tour.
okay, I hope you got it. Okay, now we're going to listen it from question number 16 to 20. Okay, let me zoom in it. Okay, now let's listen it for question 16 and highlight keyword for question 16. Okay, all museum patrons, okay, let me highlight it, receive advance information about events, have a discount on entry to the museum, can take one non-playing guest into the museum. So which one would be the appropriate option? Let's listen it.
Now listen and answer questions 16 to 20.
Well, I hope you all found the tour interesting. If any of you would like to become a patron of the museum, you can request information from the museum store. Being a patron entitles you to special discounts on visiting exhibitions and first refusal on tickets to special events. You will also be the first to know about our museum events, as you are automatically placed on the museum's mailing list.
So he was saying the first to know about our museum events, as you are automatically placed on the museum's mailing list. Okay. Receive advance information about the event. I think option A would be the answer. Okay, as he was saying, the first to know about our museum events, as you are automatically placed on the museum mailing list. So that means those who will be Patreon, they will receive an email in advance about the meeting. Okay, we are out of time. Let me submit it and let me restart it once again. Okay, so that means option A would be the answer. Okay, don't be afraid, I'm going to play the audio once again. Oops, sorry, it's not working.
Now listen and answer questions
Okay, let's listen it for question number 16 once again.
16 to 20.
Well, of the museum entitles you to special, as you are gold, silver, or free entry for one accompanying guest. However, you will also first refusal on tickets to special events. You will also be the first to know about our museum events, as you are automatically placed on the museum's mailing list. You can choose to become a...
Okay, we got it. Now let's listen it for question number 17. The masked ball is an annual event, will be held on New Year's Day, will be a unique event. Let's listen it. Okay.
a gold, silver, or bronze patron of the museum. Gold patrons are also permitted free entry for one accompanying guest. However, all patrons can receive year-round benefits that are not enjoyed by non-patrons. Having said all that, I would now like to announce some very special news. Next year will be our centenary celebrations. It's hard to believe it, but the museum was founded over 100 years ago. Accordingly, we will be seeing in the new year in style with a special masked ball. This has been organised in response to a special request from some of our patrons.
Okay, so here's saying we'll be seeing the New Year in style with a special masked ball. This has been organized in response to a special request for some of our patrons. Okay, so is an annual event, not this one. Okay, will be held on New Year's Day, will be a unique event. Okay, so C would be the answer. As he was saying, we'll sing the New Year in style with special mask ball. This has been organized in response special request for some of our patrons. Okay, as he was saying, New Year in style with special mask ball. So that means it would be it's similar to a unique events. Okay, so C would be the answer. Now I hope you got it. Now let's listen to for question number 18. Details of the mask ball have yet to be confirmed, have been finalized, may be provided on request. Okay, let's listen it.
Plans have yet to be finalized for this one-off event, but a themed masked ball has been suggested.
Okay, so here's saying plans have been yet to be finalized for the one-off event, but attempt must poll has been suggested. Okay, so yet to confirm. So A will be the answer, as you were saying. Plans yet to be finalized. So yet to be finalized for one of the event. Okay, so that means as he was saying, plan have yet to be finalized. That means it's not confirmed. Uh, so it's relevant to option A, as in the option A we can see have yet to be confirmed. Okay, so that means it's not finalized yet. Okay, now we are going to listen for question number 19. Certain events at the garden party are more expensive than other, liable to cancellation. Okay, cancellation, almost fully booked. Okay, let's listen for question number 19. Certain events at the garden party are blah blah. Let's listen it.
The idea being that guests come in the guise of famous artists, past or present. One exciting event that has been confirmed is the summer garden party. We are anticipating a lot of interest for this one, so it's best to book well in advance. Whilst the tickets are by no means cheap, we like to think that the price reflects the quality of the event. Amongst the many treats we have in store for you is a live orchestra playing in the museum's gardens, which are to the back of the main building. It is weather permitting, of course. Again, we are dependent on good weather in order.
So here's saying amongst the many traits we have and store for you is a live orchestra playing in the museum gardens, which are to be back of the main building, is weather permitting, of course. Okay, so live to cancellation. So B would be the answer. Okay, let's listen it one more time.
Of gardens. Treats we have in store for you is a live orchestra playing in the museum's gardens, which are to the back of the main building. It is weather permitting, of course.
So here's saying it is weather permitting, of course. Okay, so B would be the answer. Now let's listen it for question 20. Okay, the forthcoming artistic events feature newcomers to the art world, established artists, a mixture of new and established artists. Okay, let's listen it. The forthcoming artistic events to feature. Okay, let's listen it.
Again, we are dependent on good weather in order for the barbecue to take place. Alternatively, a sit-down meal will be provided in the cowl room. Everything from the entertainment to the food is included in the ticket price, so there are no hidden extras. Now, having given you a roundup of the highlights of next year's social events, let's go on to the artistic highlights of next month. Coming up shortly is Ewan Bailey's newest installation, Light and Sound Waves. Always thought-provoking, his previous installations have been very well received. We will also have Hamish Barnes here for the first time as artist in residence. He will be encouraging visitors to adopt a more hands-on approach to art. Finally, last but not least, we will be exhibiting the work of Sean Long, who will be making his artistic debut. His work will be...
So the first here is saying, come shortly is your Bailey's newest installation, Light and Sound Waves, always thought-provoking. His previous installation have been very well received, and then he was saying finally, last but not least, we will be exhibiting the work of Sean Long, who will be marking his artistic debut. Okay, so okay, newcomers to the artistic world, Established okay, mixture of new and established arts. Associate with our answer because it's relevant to his talk. Okay, I hope you got it. So let's listen it once more time. Almost time. Okay.
Well, his previous sound waves. And Bailey's newest installation, Light and Sound Waves. Always thought-provoking, his previous installations have been very well received. We will also have Hamish Barnes here for the first time as artist in residence. He will be encouraging visitors to adopt a more hands-on approach to art. Finally, last but not least, we will be exhibiting the work of Sean Long, who will be making his artistic debut. His work will be on show in the Warburton Gallery.
So I hope you got it. Now we are done with part 2 also. So let's jump into part 3. Okay. So before going to part 3, let's read it. Correct the okay. Choose the correct letter A, B, or C. Here we can see in question number 21. Outsider art is created by artists who let me highlight it, lack formal art training, have a formal background in art, make a living from their work. Let's listen it for question number 11. Okay.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
I think I've said enough, so now it's the turn of the audience. Would anyone like to start the ball rolling and comment on anything I said earlier in my talk? Ah, that young gentleman over there.
Hi, my name's Jake, and I've got a question for you. You referred to outsider art as being the work of self-taught rather than trained or professional artists. Does that mean anyone can produce art then?
Well,
Okay, so the man was saying we refer to outsider art as being the work of self-taught rather than trained or professional artists. Okay, so that means lack form of artist training. Okay, so option A would be the answer. Okay, as you are saying, you refer to outsider art. Okay, you refer to outsider art as being the work of self-taught rather than trained or professional artists. Okay, so lack for formal art training would be the answer. Okay, now let's listen it once again.
You referred to...
there.
Hi, my name's Jake, and I've got a question for you. You referred to outsider art as being the work of self-taught rather than trained or professional artists. Does that mean anyone can produce art then?
Well, what we define as...
Okay, I hope you got it. Now we are going to listen it for question number 22. The art critic believes that the definition of art is very flexible. There is a common perception of what constitutes art. In theory, quality art can be from now on produced by anyone. Let's listen in for question 22. Okay.
Does that mean anyone can produce art then?
Well, what we define as art will always remain subjective. But given that we can agree more or less on a common perception of what is actually art, then yes, anyone in theory can produce art. The challenge, though, is to produce...
So the man was asking, does that mean anyone can produce art? Then the lady was replying that, well, what we define as art will always remain subjective. Okay, so I think that would be the answer because it's relevant to her talk. As we're saying, what we define as art will always remain subjective. Okay, so that means the definition of art is very flexible. Okay, it's quite similar to his talk. Her talk. Okay, now we're going to listen it for question number 23. According to the art critic, good art, let me highlight it, relies more on talent than skill, requires an equal combination of talent and skill, requires significant skill. Let's listen it.
Good art.
Excuse me, may I ask a question, please?
Yes, of course. Would you like to introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure, my name's Lucy.
So, Lucy, what would you like to ask?
Don't you think that untrained artists lack the necessary technique to produce good art? I felt that some of the paintings by outsider artists that you showed us earlier were, to be honest, rather crude.
I think you're confusing technique with art here. A great technique doesn't guarantee great art, you know. But I think impressive art can still be produced by gifted artists lacking in what are accepted as basic art skills.
Okay. So she's saying, I think impressive art can still be produced by gifted artists lacking in what are accepted as basic art skills. Okay, that means relies. Okay, so relies more on talent than skill. So A would be the answer, I hope. Okay, as she was saying, I think impressive art can still be produced by gifted artists lacking in what are accepted as basic art skills. Okay, so that means option A will be the answer. Let's listen it once again.
Confusing technique with art here. A great technique doesn't guarantee great art, you know. But I think impressive art can still be produced by gifted artists lacking in what are accepted as basic art skills. Oh.
So gifted artist means talented. Okay, talented. So I hope you got it. Now we are going to listen it for question number 24. Usually the public is unimpressed by outsider art, has little knowledge of outsider artists, only appreciates large-scale works of art. Okay, let's listen it for question 24.
Okay. Can I have another question from a member of the audience, please?
Hi, I've got a question. Oh, my name's Dave, by the way. I just wanted to ask how many outsider artists were or are recognised in their lifetime?
Relatively few. The exceptions are the ones who create particularly monumental or significant works of art, like Nekshan's sculpture garden in India, or...
Okay, so the man was asking how many outsider artists or are recognized in their lifetime, and the lady was replying relatively few. So that means B would be the answer, has little knowledge of outsider artists. Okay, would be the answer, as she was saying, relatively few. Okay, so few and has little knowledge of. It's quite similar. Okay, I hope you got it. Now let's listen it one more time.
Outsider artists were or are recognised in their lifetime?
Relatively few. The exception...
Relatively few. Okay, so few and little are the same thing. Okay, I hope you got it. Now we are going to listen it for question number 25. Let's listen it and let's read the question for highlighting keywords. Okay, the works of Nekshan and Ferdinand Cheval, okay, impress most due to their size, were created without official consent, were inspired by a romantic idea. Okay, let's listen it.
Exceptions are the ones who create particularly monumental or significant works of art,
Like Nekshan's sculpture garden in India, or Ferdinand Cheval's fantastic building, the Palace Ideal. Both, as you know, were created purely from recycled materials.
Yeah, they were pretty amazing. I remember them from the slides you showed earlier.
But what impresses people most is not so much the sheer scale of these buildings and sculptures as the work involved. These artists built their works single-handedly over many years and, more to the point, in total secret, as they lacked planning permission.
Okay, so she was saying these artists built their works single-handedly over many years and, more to the point, in total secret, as they lacked planning permission. Okay, so I think option B will be the answer. Were created without official consent, as you're saying. These artists built their works single-handed over many years and, more to the point, in total secret, as they lacked planning permission. Okay, so that means were created without official consent. Okay, consent. Let's listen it once again.
More to the sheer scale of these buildings and sculptures as the work involved. These artists built their works single-handedly over many years and, more to the point, in total secret, as they lacked planning permission. That adds to the romance of...
Okay, I hope you got it. Now we are going to listen it for question number 26 to 30. Before that, we have the instruction. Let's read them. Okay, what does Jack say about the following? Say about the following. What? Write the correct letter A, B, or C. Next question, number 26 to 30. Okay, we can see are overrated, lack skill, have popular appeal. Okay, and let's listen it for question number. So here we can see Jack says about the following. Okay, we are going to just listen it for Jack opinion. Okay, let's listen it for question number 26. To be more specific, for modern pointers. Okay, let's listen it for modern pointers.
Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
So, now I would like to post some questions to the audience. First, I would like to ask someone from the audience which, out of all the outsider artwork I showed you previously, is the most impressive and why.
Excuse me, may I?
Oh, yes, hello again, Jake. So tell me, which artwork was your favourite?
Well, funnily enough, the paintings by Adolf Wolfi. I know the perspective is crazy and all over the place, but the work is so detailed.
Well, look at the great artists like Picasso and Matisse. Perspective or lack of it was never an issue with them.
Oddly, whilst I appreciate that style in outsider art, I can't say the same for modern art. I guess it's because I don't approach the two art forms with the same set of expectations.
Interesting. You mean you expect more of artists with obvious skill and a professional training like Picasso and Matisse?
I guess so. You know, I expect modern artists to use conventions like perspective at least. And another thing, I can't really understand why modern artists are often so highly acclaimed by critics, whilst outsider artists are virtually ignored. That's probably because they are generally not as skillful, I suppose.
I take your point.
Okay, I hope you got the answer. He was saying, I can't really understand why modern artists are often so highly acclaimed by critics. Okay, so that means overrated. It would be option A. Okay, let me choose option A. Okay, as you're saying, I cannot really understand why modern artists are often so highly acclaimed by critics. Okay, so highly acclaimed by critics. Okay, so highly acclaimed, that means overrated. Okay, will be the answer. Now let's listen it one more time.
Often so highly acclaimed by critics, whilst outsider artists are virtually ignored.
Have you got it? Now let's listen it for question number 27 for outsider artists. Okay, let me hide it and let's listen it.
Often so highly acclaimed by critics, whilst outsider artists are virtually ignored. That's probably because they are generally not as skillful, I suppose.
Okay, so here we can we listen that I cannot really understand why modern artists are often so highly acclaimed by critics. So highly acclaimed by critics means it's overrated. Okay, and then saying whilst outsider artists are virtually ignored. So outsider artists are virtually ignored. Okay, so ignored, that means P would be the relevant. Okay, as you're saying, outsider artists are virtually ignored. Okay, so ignored means lack skill. Okay, ignore, and that's because they are generally not skillful, suppose. So not skillful, that means lack skill. Okay, so lack skill would be the answer. Now let's listen it for question number 28, Renaissance artists. Okay, let's listen it for.
I take your point. I imagine that with the exception of outsider artists, you tend to like work by more traditional artists.
I suppose. Like everyone, I can appreciate Renaissance art as exemplified by Da Vinci and Michelangelo. Amazing technique.
So the lady was saying, I take your point. Amazing, with the exception of outsider artists, you tend to like work by more traditional artists. Okay, and then the man was playing, I suppose, like anyone, I can appreciate Renaissance arts as amplified by Da Vinci and Michelangelo. Okay, so that means you're saying he appreciate, as you're saying I can appreciate, so that means I can appreciate. So C would be the answer. Okay, as you're saying I can appreciate, that means have a fulfill uphill. Okay, can appreciate Renaissance. Okay, like everyone. So like everyone, that means everybody likes it. So that means it's have a popular appeal. Okay, so C would be the answer. Hope you got it. Now let's listen to for question number 29. Impressionist artist. Okay, let's listen it for.
Technique and all that. And I also understand the popularity of Impressionist artists too.
One other question.
Okay, so he's saying amazing techniques and all that, and he is replying that, and also understand the popularity of the Impressionist artist, the popularity of him. So he was commenting the same for question number 29. So that means it will be again C for question number 29. Okay, I hope you got it. Let's listen it one more time for question number 28 and 29. Okay,
But I suppose ignored. That's probably because they are generally not as skillful, I suppose.
I take your point. I imagine that with the exception of outsider artists, you tend to like work by more traditional artists.
I suppose. Like everyone, I can appreciate Renaissance art as exemplified by Da Vinci and Michelangelo. Amazing technique and all that. And I also understand the popularity of Impressionist artists too.
One other question.
okay, I hope you got it. Now we're going to listen it for question number 30. Modern sculptures. sculptors. Okay, let's listen it for.
What's your opinion of modern sculpture? Do you have the same opinion of modern sculpture as you do of modern painting?
I think all sculptors have to be pretty skilled to work with materials like metal and stone, so I admire them in a way. But many modern sculptures, particularly public artworks, are often given praise I feel they don't deserve.
You seem to have quite...
So, according to his opinion, it would be option A. As he was saying, many modern sculptures, particularly public artworks, often given praise I feel they don't deserve. So here's saying I feel they don't deserve. Okay, that means according to his opinion, it would be overrated. Okay, so overrated is option A, as we can see. Okay, so we are done with part 3. Now we are going to listen it for question number 31 to 35. Okay, let's jump into part 3. So here we have another instruction to follow. Let's read it. No more than 3 words for each answer. Okay, now let's listen it for question number 31 first. Okay, despite the rather blah blah animal paintings are nevertheless impressive. Okay, let me highlight it and let's listen it.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
I have just shown you all some slides of a very varied set of paintings. I noticed, as I was showing the slides, a few giggles in the audience and a few looks of dismay. I guess entitling my lecture Unconventional Art Geniuses was a bit misleading. When most of you were looking at the frankly basic colour use and rather primitive painting techniques, you probably were more...
So basic color use will be done. So let me put it. Basic COLOR use will be done. So or you can add you here. Okay, let's listen it once again.
dismay. I guess entitling my lecture Unconventional Art Geniuses was a bit misleading. When most of you were looking at the frankly basic colour use and rather primitive painting techniques, you probably were more than a little surprised.
Surprised means impressive. Okay, have you got it? Now let's listen for question number 32. However, blah blah, such as artwork are considered rather primitive. Okay, let's listen it.
Well, I have a shock for you all. What I'm about to tell you next will help you understand the title of my lecture. All the slides I showed you previously are of artworks made by, wait for it, animals. Yes, I heard a few gasps in the audience when I said that. Whilst the artwork would be definitely primitive by human standards, when you consider that the artworks were...
Okay, so by human standards would be the answer. Let me put it. Human standards would be the answer. Okay, as he was saying, whilst the artwork would be definitely primitive by human standards. Okay, no. Okay, let's listen it one more time.
Artwork. Yes, I heard a few gasps in the audience when I said that. Whilst the artwork would be definitely primitive by human standards, when you consider...
Okay, hope you got it. Okay, now let's listen it for question number 33. Whilst we might accept his blah blah to have some artistic talent, other animal species do too. Okay, let's listen it.
Consider that the artworks were executed by animals, then, well, they are frankly staggering. Nor were the artworks purely the work of our closest relatives, the apes. No, they were produced by animal artists drawn from a diverse pool of species.
Okay, so our closest relatives will be the answer. Let me put it. Our closest relatives will be the answer. Let's listen it one more time.
Nor were the artworks purely the work of our closest relatives, the apes. No, they were produced by animal artists drawn from a diverse pool of species, ranging from elephants to gorillas.
Okay, have you got it? Okay, now let's listen it for question number 34. Recently, an interspecies exhibition of animal art was held. Blah blah, such as phenomenon. Okay, let me highlight it. Let's listen it.
Birds and even sloths. In fact, in recognition of this, last year, London's Grant Museum of Zoology staged what organisers thought was the first interspecies show of paintings by animals.
Okay, so in recognition of the answer in recognition of the answer, as he was saying, in recognition this last year, London's Great Museum of Zoology staged what organizers thought was the first interspecies show of painting by animals. Okay, so that means in recognition of the answer. Okay, let's listen it once again.
Staged from elephants, they were produced by animal artists drawn from a diverse pool of species, ranging from elephants to gorillas, birds, and even sloths. In fact, in recognition of this, last year, London's Grant Museum of Zoology staged what organisers thought was the first interspecies show of paintings by animals.
First interspecies show. So first interspecies show and interspecies exhibition are the same thing. Okay, don't be confused. I hope you got it. Now let's listen to question 35. Animals tend to adopt an abstract rather than a blah blah to art. Okay, let's listen it.
In the show, art was shown from an orangutan, a gorilla, and an elephant. Whilst the gorilla and the orangutan produced works that bore a resemblance to the paintings of modern artists de Kooning and Klein, the elephant's work took a more figurative approach in the rendering of a flower pot. Now, before you all go thinking this is a revolutionary discovery, I would like to put the record straight.
Okay, so I hope you got the answer. As he was saying, the elephants work to a more figurative approach in the rendering of a flower pot. Okay, so figurative approach will be the answer. Let me put it. Figurative approach and which approach will be the answer. Let's listen it one more time.
In the de Kooning and Klein, the elephant's work took a more figurative approach in the rendering of a flower pot.
Okay, I hope you got it. Okay, now we're going to listen it for question number 36. Okay, here we have another instruction to follow. Let's read it. No more than 2 words for each answer, so you're allowed to just write 2 words, okay, but not more than. So let's read the question for question 36. Okay, today animal artists are no longer such as blah blah as once. Oh yeah, okay, let's listen to question number 36.
Consider that the artworks were executed by animals, then, well, they are frankly staggering. Nor were the artworks purely the work of our closest relatives, the apes. No, they were produced by animal artists drawn from a diverse pool of species, ranging from elephants to gorillas, birds, and even sloths. In fact, in recognition of this, last year, London's Grant Museum of Zoology staged what organisers thought was the first interspecies show of paintings by animals. In the show, art was shown from an orangutan, a gorilla, and an elephant. Whilst the gorilla and the orangutan produced works that bore a resemblance to the paintings of modern artists de Kooning and Klein, the elephant's work took a more figurative approach in the rendering of a flower pot. Now, before you all go thinking this is a revolutionary discovery, I would like to put the record straight. The contribution animals can make to the art world was highlighted as far back as the 1950s. In this decade, Desmond Morris, celebrated social anthropologist and author of bestsellers such as Body Watching and The Naked Ape, introduced Congo, the painting chimp, to the British public in a TV appearance. Back then, animal art makers were regarded as little more than a novelty. Today, however, animal art...
So the answer would be nobility would be, okay. No. Okay. It would be the answer. As he was saying, back then, animal art makers were regarded as little more than nobility. So nobility would be the answer. Okay, let's listen one more time.
Makers were regarded as in a TV appearance. Back then, animal art makers were regarded as little more than a novelty. Today, however...
Okay, here we got it. Okay, so let's listen for question 36. Okay, we are out of time again. I need to restart it again. Okay, so let's listen it for question number 36. Okay.
Consider that the artworks were executed by art birds and Schiller to render every animal of bench. Today, creators never can. The hope is that...
Now, we are going to listen it for question number 36. Okay, let's listen. Sorry, 37. Let's read the question first, okay? Art environment and tools need to be species, okay? Blah blah, in order for animals to be creative, okay? Let's listen to it.
Puzzles being taken more seriously as humans never can. As a result of animals being taken more seriously as creators of art, it has become commonplace today for zoos to provide materials to captive animals. The hope is that by giving animals the means to create art, they will be kept physically and mentally stimulated. Obviously, you can't give a lizard a paintbrush and expect it to draw. What the zookeepers do, though, is to give animals species-appropriate art materials and tools. For example, sloth bears, who feed by blowing away dirt from the forest floor to feed on termites, have been given a straw-like apparatus to blow paint onto a canvas. What is one...
Okay, so the answer would be appropriate. Okay, let me put it. Appropriate would be the answer, okay? Appropriate would be the answer. Let me explain to you as he was saying. Okay, what the zookeepers do, though, is to give animals species appropriate art material and tools. So appropriate would be the answer. Okay, let's listen it one more time.
By blowing away dirt from the forest floor to feed on termites, have been given a straw-like apparatus to blow paint onto a canvas. What is one of them blowing a material is today of animals being taken more seriously as creators of art? It has become commonplace today for zoos to provide materials to captive animals. The hope is that by giving animals the means to create art, they will be kept physically and mentally stimulated. Obviously, you can't give a lizard a paintbrush and expect it to draw. What the zookeepers do, though, is to give animals species-appropriate art materials and tools.
Okay, I hope you got it. Okay, now let's listen to question number 38. It would seem that man and animals share blah blah. Then at the first third. Okay, let's listen to question number 38.
For example, sloth bears, who feed by blowing away dirt from the forest floor to feed on termites, have been given a straw-like apparatus to blow paint onto a canvas. What is one of the most interesting discoveries to come out of all this, though, is the finding that animals voluntarily and instinctively participate in the creation of art. It seems, therefore, that animals derive as much pleasure as humans do in applying paint to canvas or making a clay or plasticine figure. The obvious conclusion to draw from all this is that there are more similarities between man and other animals than some of us might care to admit.
So similar, more similars will be the answer. Okay, let me put it. Similarity. Okay. So let me explain to you. As he was saying, the obvious conclusion to draw from all these is that there are more similar between man and other animals than some of the might. So more similarity will be the answer. Let's listen it once again.
Is a clay or plasticine figure. The obvious conclusion to draw from all this is that there are more similarities between man and other animals than some of us might care to admit.
Okay, we got it. Now let's listen it for question number 39. Okay, some animals' artworks may, however, be the result of blah blah. Okay, let's highlight it and let's listen it.
However, just to satisfy the skeptics amongst you, there is something I would like to add. So far, the primate and elephant art that has been produced often bears an uncanny resemblance to Western art. Certain conventions are evident in the animal's art that suggests a degree of human intervention. As proof of this, an elephant named Boo.
Okay, so human intervention of the dancer, let me put it. Human intervention of the dancer, as he was saying, certain conventions are evident in the animal's art that suggest a degree of human intervention. Okay, intervention would be the answer. Let's listen it once again.
Certain conventions are evident in the animal's art that suggests a degree of human intervention. As proof of this.
Okay, have you got it? Okay, now let's listen it for question 40 and the last one. Okay, skeptics are probably best advised, though, to maintain and blah blah when it comes to animal art. Okay, let's listen it.
An elephant named Boon Me was actually guided by a keeper who steered the animal's trunk to paint brushstrokes on a canvas. Nevertheless, we should keep an open mind about animal art, as there are just as many examples of artworks that have been completed by...
Okay, so open mind would be the answer. Open would be the answer. Let me explain it to you. As he was saying, nevertheless, we should keep an open mind about animal art, as there are just as many examples. Let's listen it once again.
About to paint brushstrokes on a canvas. Nevertheless, we should keep an open mind about animal art, as there are just as...
We should keep an open mind. So to maintain an open mind and to keep an open mind is similar thing. So open mind will be the answer. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this. Now I'm going to submit this, but before going to submitting it, I need to re-click each answer once again, as we was out of the time at the middle of practicing. Okay, just give me a few seconds to re-click each answer once again, then I will show you the answer, the result, how much we obtained today. Okay, just give me a few seconds. So it was E. I need to select E again. Okay, it was F, I need to select F again. It was G, I need to select G again. It was A, I need to select A again. It was B, I need to select B again. Okay, done. It was A, I need to select A again. It was B, I need to select B again. It was C, I need to select C again. It was C, I need to select C again. It was B, I need to select. Okay, it was A, I need to select A again. Okay, now okay, I'm done. Let's submit it and check how much we obtained today. Okay. Okay, got 9 out of 9 and we are correct for 40 out of 40. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, but I am going to recommend you that if you didn't understand um, any question on the whole thing as we did today, I would suggest you to rewatch this lesson once again or more and more time. I hope then you will be able to understand everything. Okay, as I uh, took this class more okay, as I took this class more patiently by replaying the audio track twice. Okay, so I hope it would be helpful to you to get the answer or to get the explanation as I played the audio twice for each answer. Okay, for each question. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and that's all about today's lesson. So I have to say you that I will see you in the next class with another IELTS listening practice test. So see you in the next class. Bye for then. Bye.